What's up, Keller Williams Realty Partners, coming to you with another educational video, video 5 on the new construction series I'm doing. This is on the contract portion. I would say 9 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 of these contracts have basically the same things in them. The thing you need to know as the buyer's agent is that these contracts are mostly written for the benefit of the builder. We don't control the contract. We may be able to negotiate a few things in and out of the contract, but they're not written mostly on Georgia Association of Realtors forms. They're written by the attorneys of the builders, and they pay good money for those. They're generally anywhere between 15 to 25 pages, depending on the number of exhibits and so on. As I've mentioned before, my suggestion to you is to do this. Read every word of the contract, highlight things that stand out, and bring that to the attention of the buyer. You're most likely not going to be able to do anything about those portions of the contract that you don't like, but it's good for your buyer to know. And I would also suggest to you to suggest to your buyer to read every word of the contract. They're probably not going to do it, but at least you said for them to do so. All right, here's the part of the email that I send to them once I send them the contract and have them read it over. It says, here are my initial thoughts on the contract. FYI, this is by no means a comprehensive summary, but the major points. Also, I have done a ton of new construction buys for my clients, and all these items are pretty standard with new construction. In general, this contract, and all new construction contracts, is written to protect the builder. One final note, every new construction deal I have ever done has had unique aspects of it. The points below and questions I will ask the listing agent cover quite a bit, but there may be unforeseen circumstances and events not covered here. We can never predict exactly what's going to happen in any contract, even written on Georgia Association of Realtor forms, much less new construction. There are all kinds of issues that come up. Labor shortages, material shortages, permitting issues, and so on. All kinds of things that we couldn't possibly know. So it's important to point that out to the buyer. Again, most of these are pretty smooth. Not always, but most of the time. You need to make sure your buyer knows that. We will take those as they come and get them worked out. Please rest assured you are in good hands. Now, the first point, the deposit is not with a neutral escrow company and is placed directly with the builder. They have complete control over the refunds should there be an issue. If there is an issue, which is rare, we will go to arbitration. I'm not going to get into this too much, but I'm going to talk about, like I said earlier, if this new construction deposit is with the builder, I, as the agent, have very little control over it. Secondly, technically, we have to get permission to enter the home or go to the lot during the new construction time frame. Some builders are adamant that you do not show up to that property. You don't even pull up in the driveway unless the agent is there. And some of them, it's a free-for-all. You can go out anytime you want. But technically, it is written in the contracts that you're supposed to get permission to go out first. Thirdly, if we are unable to attend a homeowner orientation meeting, we waive the right to make a punch list, and they will do it in our absence, meaning there is a new construction orientation meeting, usually about a week before closing. They walk you through the house. They want to show you everything about the house, how this works, how that works. And also gives you, as the buyer's agent and the buyer, to make a punch list of what needs to be done. Maybe there's some blemishes in the paint. Maybe the sink doesn't fit quite right. Maybe the cabinets are a little off, something like this. Just some stuff I've experienced. You need to tell your buyer to make plans to take time off work to do this. And both parties, if it's a husband and wife, for example, or all decision makers really need to be there. If those, and I've never had this happen, but if your buyers elect not to do this, they are going to make the punch list for you. And I can guarantee you it's not going to be as thorough as the buyers would want it to be. Again, unlikely that we're unable to work out a schedule, but be prepared to take some time off work for orientations, option selections, and final walkthroughs. In my experience, we will have to accommodate a normal 9 to 5 working schedule. My experience is they almost always do these in the morning. I'm not sure why, usually around 10, but this is a big purchase and your buyer needs to be prepared to take some time off work. They are not very flexible on scheduling these. A lot of times they'll just tell you, hey, look, we need you to be here at 10 a.m. on, July whatever. Okay. Within reason, they choose the closing attorney. I've never had it to where the buyer got to choose the closing attorney. They usually have attorneys that they work with. The date and the time of closing, we are usually obligated to meet. One other note I would just tell you to tell your buyer, if they tell you it's going to be ready August 1st, don't believe them, because oftentimes there are delays. They want to close as much as the buyer does. But just remember that initial date, particularly if it's being built from the ground up, that's just a rough guess. Okay. More than likely they will work with us, but legally they choose and can delay closing if they have to. And that's absolutely true. They can delay this closing for months, and it's written into all these contracts. Again, they don't want to do that. They want to sell to you as soon as they humanly can. Okay. Also tell them, please read over the home warranty information carefully. All those are a little bit different. If disputes are deemed to be unresolvable, the builder has the right to unilaterally cancel the contract. I believe I've seen this in every single new construction contract I've had. This was particularly troublesome when we were in a market of quick accelerating prices, because the builder could literally just take it from you and sell it to somebody else if they wanted to. That's not happening as much as these days since the market's cooled off, but just know that they almost always have the right to unilaterally, meaning without your permission, cancel the contract and sell that to someone else. I haven't seen this personally, but I've heard about buyers that are so difficult to deal with. They had to have everything just so that the builder was finally like, especially the smaller builders, like, forget it. We're not selling to you, we'll sell it to somebody else. Again, we talked about this before, but there is no appraisal contingency, meaning if the appraisal the bank requires comes in low, they do not have to lower the price. My guess is they would probably work with you to work something out, but they do not have to. This has never been an issue for any new construction home I have sold, and again, to this date, and this is July of 2026, I've never had it be an issue, as I mentioned before. And then finally, for this slide, agreeing to the arbitration section of this contract waives your right to a trial by jury. In my experience, all contracts say this. I am not a lawyer, but this means arbitration has to be sought first before you can sue over a dispute. In the contract, they're going to tell you if there's a dispute between you and the builder, and again, I've never had this happen, you were supposed to go to arbitration first. Now, my understanding is, and I'm not an attorney, is that you can sue anybody at any time, but in the contract it does say you're supposed to at least seek arbitration first. So, thanks for watching, and we'll continue with the next one. Thanks.